him at a higher weight. Because if you think about it, if you have Demetrius Johnson's fighting Cody Garbrandt, which I think he probably would beat Cody Garbrandt, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just being honest with you. I think Demetrius Johnson will beat Cody Garbrandt. I know we
I
said
don't
that
believe Demetrius Johnson can beat Cody Garbrandt only because Cody Garbrandt's fight IQ is so high. It is the highest fight IQ in
Oh,
the
you're being
history of the
sarcastic.
UFC.
You're being sarcastic. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I
All
do
right.
believe that he'll give Cody Garbrandt the business as well. He'll somehow entice Cody Garbrandt to get emotional, and then next thing you
Well,
know,
yeah, because the thing about
Cody
Demetrius,
smash, Cody
the thing
mad,
about
Cody smash.
the thing about Demetrius is that he moves. Like I was watching that fight, right? So I think it was a sprawl that happened, right? So whoever DJ was fighting, he was put in a bad
Yeah,
position,
yeah,
and
it
then
was something.
and Yaya sprawled out, and then DJ had to give up the position. As soon as DJ gave up the position, he let go of him, and he moved. He made a right step and moved close to him, and like kind of stepped to the right. And I was like, Jesus, he's moving at all times.
Yeah,
Like he's literally moving and gaining position at all times. He's like he let go of him and then he quickly re-engaged. He didn't really even try to punch him or anything. He just got himself in a better position to just tussle with him a little bit more. And that's what those guys are out there dealing with. They're dealing with that. So I mean, with him having such a high IQ when it comes down to striking and grappling, I think what's going to end up happening is that he's just going to grapple the fuck out of everybody and then beat the brakes off everybody. Because those guys can't wrestle. They could probably do jujitsu, but they can't wrestle.
yeah,
And um, if you look at it like this, right, that's one of the reasons why Ben Askren may not have a hard time in the UFC is because he fought like okay, Bellator. I think a lot of those guys are a little bit more mixed, but I mean, he fought a lot of guys over there at Bellator and at ONE FC that really just could not deal with the wrestling acumen that he has. So to
okay,
me tells me that he's a very high skilled, high level wrestler, right? So he's going to give a lot of dudes in UFC problems. The issue that I think he's going to face, that we all know he's probably going to face, is the fact that some of those motherfuckers, even though they can't wrestle, they can hit, and
yeah.
they can hit hard.
So Eddie Alvarez found out.
They can hit hard, and yeah, I think it's going to be an issue for
Yeah, I
some
mean,
of our guys here.
I would say that Yuya Wakamatsu is the name of the guy he was Demetrius Johnson was facing, and I'd say even in that fight, to your point, like when he took his back, the times he wrestled him, the single leg takedowns, all that stuff. It just seems like um, the only uh, the only times that Yuya capitalized in this fight were times where Demetrius Johnson overextended or something like that.
No, Yuya was a harder hitting striker, though, mind you. I mean, some of those striking exchanges he did have the better of him in. And I think
Yeah,
that's why Demetrius decided that I'm just gonna grapple this guy because I mean, there's a couple of exchanges. I think Yuya was a harder hitting fighter. I think Demetrius Johnson obviously was the essentially the better striker, of course, but I think Yuya strikes. There's a couple of right hands, I think, and a couple other strikes that he caught Yuya caught Demetrius with that 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 instantly put Demetrius in that. Oh no. But one of the things that Demetrius has that I haven't really seen since GSP is that he mixes his takedowns like effortlessly with his striking. Like he'll do combinations and it's like right to a single leg. And he'll jump from a single
yeah.
leg to a double leg. And he jumps to a double leg pretty quickly, like it's no one's business.
Oh yes, he
So
does, man. His transitions are smooth, quick, and that's one thing I was mentioning because I just saw it. The mistakes that he made where he overextended or something like that, or the times that I saw, especially in the clinch, that Yuya Wakamatsu had the advantages of that fight. But yeah, there was obviously at some point during the exchange on the feet that you can say, oh, okay. This guy's pretty good, and he has pretty good upper body strength too. I was able to see him throw when they were clinched up top, just against the cage or something like that. Wakamatsu was able to throw Demetrius off a little bit. So
Yeah, and he sprawled
yeah.
out very good. So just a lot of so what I like. So this is why I'm the most excited about ONE FC is Asian fighters actually being good. Because I'm sorry not to be racist or anything like of
Uh-oh.
that nature,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
but I've
This
always
comment has been made without the express written consent of the
all
NBA.
right. Anyways,
Just so we
so
before we start.
I have always had this ever since the days of kung fu movies. I've always had this mentality that Asian fighters should be better at martial arts in general. And the UFC, for whatever reason, Asians don't do very well in the UFC, and they have not for whatever reason.
Well, I
So
mean,
I think for whatever reason, ONE FC has a pretty decent pool. I think Pride had a couple good Asian fighters as well. Um, but I'm looking to see some
it'd be
names that we
crazy to
probably
say for
haven't
Pride
seen.
not to.
Pride, yeah, but I think what it is that for whatever reason, ONE FC just understands the recruiting. They understand what they're doing over there, and I think what they understand is that I think they understand the standard that exists in like organization such as the UFC, and they have fighters that they can see that will last in something of that. Because Yuya honestly didn't get it. Like, he got his ass kicked, but he didn't get his ass kicked.
Yeah,
Like,
he ain't.
like, like if Demetrius actually tried to just trade with him, he might have had a problem.
Oh, I mean,
And
he
next,
definitely, bro. There was definitely a part in the first round where Demetrius received an uppercut, and it
like,
made that dude
like
sprawled
he
out a
punching.
little bit. It made him get out.
Yeah, he like, oh, he punching. Like
It
he's
made Demetrius get on that bike.
yeah,
So,
like Yuya,
hey,
Yuya,
hey, bro.
Yuya, Yuya knew it was at stake.
He's like,
Yuya
you
had
crank that
yeah, like
soldier
nah,
weapon back up, man.
yeah, he knew what was going on. Like, oh no,
Yeah,
he
man.
didn't come in there to play. So I
He
like
finna,
the idea, and then I like the fact that what it's gonna do with the ONE FC now essentially becoming in the mix. What it does for I guess mixed martial arts is it forces the UFC to really pay attention to the international audience. Number one, so I think UFC is going to start um, getting more and more international fighters into the mix to kind of level the playing field. And I think that's going to be good for the UFC. I think we're going to see a lot of new talent in places that we normally would see, which is good. I do think that UFC is probably going to milk the whole Nigeria thing because they're having a good. I think right.
I
I
see it
think they
right now.
don't you. I mean, they're having pretty good luck. I mean, you got my man's. I can't believe I forgot his name. Kamaru Usman. He's a champion.
Yeah.
We got Adesanya that they're honestly
Yep.
trying to push to
You
be
got
the
this new
champion.
guy that just fought on this ESPN card.
Sadiq. We got Sadiq as well. So I mean Dana's always had Dana's biggest growth has always come from Connor and his black fighters. I mean essentially like the black fighters essentially held the card and held everything down while Connor was kind of doing his thing. So if you think about it, the fighters that essentially, and this is not a whatever thing, but I mean, the fighters that essentially held it down while Connor was, kind of fucking around was kind of TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt. We got to give him that. They're back and forth with um, who was the champion before? Who did Cody Garbrandt beat again? I forgot. We talked about it last podcast.
What was his name? Yeah.
Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz.
Dominic
So we
Cruz.
so we have to give honorable mentions for TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, and Dominic Cruz. But at the same time, I mean, who really held it down? I mean, we got fucking Woodley. Till, I mean, the hype of Till is definitely unnecessarily needed to be mentioned as well. We
The
have
Hypertil?
Woodley, the hype of Till. Yeah, Till's hype was pretty strong, dude. Honestly, because you got to think about it like this. The reason why Till was so hyped is because of how well he did against Wonder Boy, and how well he did against Cowboy. Like honestly, Till kind of derailed Cowboy if you think about it, because Cowboy lost to Masvidal, but I think he had another win right after that that kind of put him in good position, prime position. So you got that happening, and then all of a sudden this Till kid just comes in and just beats the brakes off of
Oi,
Cowboy.
oi, oi.
Yeah, so beats the brakes off Cowboy. So you get some honorable mention there, but I mean John Jones, Daniel Cormier. I mean these are the names that be Francis Ngannou. These are the names that kind of held everything together. Stipe, gotta give Stipe. We have to put Stipe in there as well. These are guys that kind of held the UFC together and kind of held the fans as they were waiting for their their counter fix. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think Dana's probably going to try to milk the whole Nigeria thing. I think he's going to
Well, I
try to do
mean,
it.
well, Dana never runs
Kind of
away
like
from,
the NFL. Kind of like the
or
NFL.
you should say the NBA.
The NBA has, I mean, Africa in general. The NBA has always done the whole Africa thing in general. I think the only major Nigerian superstar in the NBA was Olajuwon. That's
Are
it.
you familiar with the NBA versus Africa summer thing?
Nah, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Um, During the summer, especially during the summer league times, the
Mm.
NBA will take a lot of young talent over to Africa, and they'll play a team comprised of only people from the continent of Africa. They also do it against Europe. They that against the world. They got NBA versus the world and NBA versus Africa, but they've been doing it for like 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, cool. So honestly, I didn't really know all that about the NBA Africa thing. That's pretty interesting. I'll say that right now, Dana White's three biggest hype trains are from the continent Africa. Like, I mean, he got Francis Ngannou, who right now, I mean, as much as I think the purists will love Francis Ngannou to be bad for whatever reason, these people are not taking him out as much as quick as I think they would like to. So Francis is actually he's himself. He's actually doing well. We have Kamaru Usman dethroning Tyron Woodley. We have Israel Adesanya looking good. The Sadiq kid has some promise, even though I don't think that Sadiq kid's really gonna do much.
Nah, nah, he's not. He's not.
And then, of course, we have like other elements as well. I mean, Anthony Joshua being his family lineage being from Nigeria, we have a lot of other things coming around. I think someone mentioned in a press conference about about Africa, and then Dana White said something along the lines of, yeah, yeah, these guys are awesome. That's usually that's the gist of his compliments. Like, these guys are awesome, and yeah, we definitely would love to expand in new places. So I think you might see that.
It makes
I'm
money, man.
interested. I'm interested to see Asian fighters be as good as Bolo. I need to see a Bolo. Can I see Bolo? When we gonna
Nah,
see Bolo?
you can't see Bolo. Bolo.
we,
Matter of fact, Bolo ain't even Bolo no more, man. Bolo a bantamweight at this point in his life.
I understand that, but I just want to see I want to see someone who looks like Shang Tsung,
Oh, shh.
who looks like the guy that plays Shang Tsung. Who's the guy? What is his name? I forgot his name.
And not only that, man, I want to see somebody that looks like that that's willing to play that part up. Maybe it's
Yeah,
because of
and just
maybe it's because
beat.
of wrestling.
Well, I mean, we did. What's his name? Tenchi, the guy that had all the kanji signs all over his chest, tattooed over his
Yes,
chest.
yes,
There was,
yes.
what was his name again? I forgot his name.
Hold on, hey, man? It's wrestling fans remember his name. And somebody screaming at the podcast right now, saying his name over and over again because that was their favorite
Probably
wrestler.
so. I forgot his name. I remember he had a feud with the Undertaker, and it was epic for 2 seconds. It was epic for 2 seconds. He used to come in with the Raiden hat, and he had the nice, dope ass kimono, and he'd take it off, and he had all these kanji signs over his chest. I don't know if they were really tattooed or they were painted on, but he had all
Or
these
they were
kanji
just
signs.
WCW. That man was from Milwaukee. I mean WW. That man was from Milwaukee. He probably
Is it?
wasn't even. he
Huh?
probably was Cambodian.
No. He was Japanese. He looked Japanese. I hope so. I
I just
hope
found out
so.
that they let Pakistani people play Chinese and stuff like that in movies the other day. Hey, through the
Well, I mean, yeah, because we don't know. I mean, well, this is the thing. What is the thing? Here's the thing.